So now we have our welcome to new visitors. And while Lorraine isn't new, we haven't seen her in a bit. And although we've certainly been thinking of her and sending her our love. And Lorraine, would you like to say hi?
Well, it's so good to see everybody. Really it is. And I just want to say something about what Carlo mentioned earlier about joy. You know, well, Clay passed away this past 22nd of January, I think. And, although I'm really going to miss Clay, what I learned from loss is that joy, my joy comes from within. And so when something like this happens, I realize that my joy was never coming from Clay, although Clay was, he was somebody that helped me to experience joy within myself. And I'm going to miss that. I've had Clay my whole life. And, he's made me laugh since I was real little. And, so I'm really grateful to have had my brother in my life, that a lot of people don't have that kind of a brother, you know? Anyway, so I just want to say that I just love you guys, and I'm really I'm looking forward to get back in person, you know. So it's good to see everybody, and thank you.
We love you, Lorraine.
Thank you.
Thank you. And for anybody who missed the service on, I don't know, I think it was like January 24th or something, it was pretty much Vicky Poppy was on and gave a tribute to Clay, and Reverend Carlos built his sermon around remembering Clay, and it was really quite an amazing service, and it's up on our YouTube channel and on the site and whatnot. So please, if you didn't see it, check it out. Okay, so I'll kick off prayer requests. I ask all of you to hold Vicky Poppy in your hearts, because her husband Teddy made transition this week.
Oh, wow.
And he had been ill for quite a while, and I never met him, but Kathy Ahern knows both of them very, very well, and he was, as Kathy put it, a lion in the Course in Miracles community, both in the U.S. and internationally. And so we pray for peace for his now that he is in a place away from the pain that he was in, and where his soul is free. Is there anything you might say, Reverend Carlos?
Okay, I got unmuted. I don't know what to say right now, Brother Raleigh. I'm deeply impacted by this news. I do share with you my joy in his freedom. I certainly share with you the compassion that I'm holding right now for my sister, Reverend Vicky, the light of the world. This is Valentine's Sunday, and you're telling me that my sister, Reverend Vicky, has had to say goodbye to the love of her life. And I've been witnessing this almost weekly, receiving the news that someone again has said goodbye to the love of their life. I've been in that position. It's an amazing, amazing opportunity that Lorraine expressed to remember that our joy, our true joy, must come from within us. I actually, at one point in my life, came to believe that my joy came from my significant other. And when my significant other returned to spirit, I felt lost. It took me a while. Sister Lorraine, you just helped me this morning earlier when you said I was always joyous since I was little. Well, so was I. I just forgot at a moment in my life that my joy comes from within, that is sponsored by my Creator. I had fallen asleep and I woke up again. So right now, I'm just blessing everyone everywhere. Everyone everywhere. And I'm wanting for all of us to know that what is eternal is the love. Love is everlasting. Pain comes and goes. Heartaches and heartbreaks, they come and go. But what remains forever is love. I truly believe with all my heart that that's what we have come here to this planet, to come into a realization of. Whatever the problem, love is the solution. Whatever the question, love is the answer. And so I'm grateful for my sister, Reverend Vicky, that she found that, and that she will always, always have that. All blessings to all of us who have experienced loss and then found the gain in that loss, which is a return to the realization that our source is within us and that love never ends. Thanks for asking, Raleigh.
Thank you, Reverend Carlos. What a wonderful reminder. Out of sadness, a wonderful reminder. Does anyone else have a prayer request? Oh, Reverend Laura.
I wanted to add in my gratitude for Teddy Poppy, who I've known fairly well. He has a very larger than life personality. And he would often push people's buttons on purpose to sort of challenge them to shift their thinking. And I remember Vicky always being amazed that he never pushed my buttons, because I guess I didn't have any buttons to push. I just never reacted to him. Everyone else was reacting to him left, right, and center because he was just so provocative. But I never had that reaction. I just was fascinated by this person who is tuned into a spiritual level and also had this very challenging personality all at once. I just found that compelling. And I want to express my amazement that Vicky actually took him back into her life after a huge separation. And I just admire her devotion. And I also want to express gratitude to Teddy. It's because of that larger than life personality that he took on challenging the copyright of the Course in Miracles himself. You know, he was the powerhouse behind that because he wanted to have the original material be available and not be controlled by the group that had the copyright. And he won that court battle on a very simple technicality, which is that Bill Thetford and Helen Schuckman, who did all the work, simply handed the manuscript, mimeograph manuscript over to John Mundy. And these were academics who knew everything about copyright. So if you just hand somebody a manuscript, then you don't think you have copyright of it. And the judge said, okay, it's in the public domain. And then therefore, Teddy Poppy was able to get published what's called the Sparkly edition. And if anybody's new to the Course in Miracles, I highly recommend the Sparkly edition because it is not so heavily redacted and heavily edited, so that the first part of it is much more comprehensible and flows more easily, and it just makes sense. I remember when I first picked up the course, I was like, okay, I recognize this voice, but man, this is heavy slogging. And so when you read the Sparkly edition, suddenly it's not heavy slogging anymore because it's not the heavy editing. So like super gratitude to Teddy Poppy for making that more accessible, more original version of the Course in Miracles available to everyone.
Thank you, Reverend Laura. Reverend Carlos.
I'm going to make the same prayer request of you all that I made at Hope Church right before zooming into our service here. I've discovered that there are a couple of things that have not come to healing and resolution since my car accident that will be 2 years. No, it is 2 years, February 9th. It was 2 years ago. And I have clearly not healed with my broken neck. And so I just pray for it's come a long way. I pray for it to go further. Thank you more, please. Thank you more, please. That's my prayer to God about my healing. Thank you more, please. But the big thing, my big prayer request at Hope Church right before coming here was that I am still deeply traumatized when driving on the highway. I went to Springfield, about 40 minutes away from here. It was as though I was on that black ice, spinning and out of control. I did not trust myself as a driver because the paranoia was mind-bending. I'm believing that it's probably because, well, one of the reasons is probably because COVID has me not driving. So this is only my second time on any kind of a highway, and that perhaps I need more practice. I need to just, without a need to get on the highway, I'm thinking maybe I should just get on the highway, push through the fear, get over this, forward this deliverance from this trauma. And that was my prayer request. And then I come to service, and pre-service, the conversation is about going back to live services in Brookline. And I literally almost fainted. So I know that I can make a quantum leap. I know that that's available. But it's interesting for me to discover where I am, that I literally almost fainted. I had to click off for a minute and just go outside and take some deep breaths. So I know with all my heart that I can receive what I am asking for. I know that I'm in a cloud of witnesses to the power of God. I'm in a group of believers, and I am calling upon each and every one of you to know with me that my deliverance is at hand. And I will do my work by pushing through and pushing through. But one big part of my healing is to make a confession before people that I trust. To say, this Reverend Anderson, who you seem to love and who has been through a lot and gotten through a lot, is still going through some stuff and could use your help, which is just to hold the affirmation and the vision that I have overcome. Thank you.
So on the 9th, remembering this, I sent Reverend Carlos a text wishing him happy 2nd birthday, because it was 2 years since his accident. And he sent me back a young picture of his mom, whose birthday was on the 9th. So I just, in addition to being in awe of, so Reverend Carlos called me from the hospital the night of the 9th and told me the story about how when he realized that he wasn't dead or paralyzed, that he wanted to like jump up for joy. And I forget exactly the words, but it was so inspiring to me that he could have gone through what he went through and still have that attitude of gratitude that is so much a part of what he shares with us every Sunday. And I would also point out that Reverend Carlos, you on, I believe it was March 8th, because the 15th was the first Sunday that we didn't have service. You drove to Brookline, to Union City, and joined us post accident. So that was kind of an unbelievable, I couldn't believe you did it. It was like rising above to do that. So you have extraordinary powers within you. And anyway, so yes, prayers for Reverend Carlos on the occasion of the week of his second birthday, and of the week of his mother's birthday. Tom. Okay, Ted.
So Reverend Carlos, I will send you some information about something very specific you can do to help you with what you just expressed. And I would encourage you not to try to push through it at this time, but I'll send you some information.
Thank you, brother. I just relaxed a bit inside when you said I would advise you not to push through. So thank you. I will take your advice.
I want to just chime in, psychologist hat. Speaking also, Ted's a psychologist. That is not the way to deal with trauma. There are specific trauma therapies that can help undo the fear. I'm happy to talk with you personally about that also, but pushing yourself through it is not the way. It's re-traumatizing.
Yay, God.
Yes. That is in both cases excellent advice. And I, for one, have been assuming that that would be a long process before you would be able to come join us in person. And I, for one, would feel deeply grateful to have you via Zoom in perpetuity, as opposed to in person, if that is what turns out to be the best thing for you, because we all love you. So, not that we wouldn't love to see you in person, but the highest and best is what's best for you. And anyway, anyone else have Tom's back.
Okay, how's that? Much better.
Much better.
All right, thank you. I want to ask for prayers for myself, to stay positive and to not let negative thoughts or any kind of depression consume my days. It's not really fun. And also, I would like prayers for my nephew and my brother, his father, and they're like kind of stuck in a no-win situation together, and they both need a lot of healing. And I would just pray that I would have the right things to say at the right time to either one of those. So thank you. That's my request. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Does anyone else have a prayer request? John Pippa.
Thank you, everyone. I ran into a neighbor yesterday in the lobby. Her name is Sylvia, and she is having some health challenges. So I just wanted to add her name to prayer. And I did give her an encouragement to call the Unity prayer line. So thank you.
Thank you, John. Oh, Farai.
Yes. There are several things. This morning, I'd like you to hold me in prayer. Yesterday was the transition of my mother. She transitioned in 1999 from metastasized breast cancer. And Friday, I transitioned out of my marriage. And so that's just 48 hours of transition energy. And so I'd like you to hold me in prayer in that. I'm also managing the other side of a bout with COVID. And I have learned, of course, since being negative, that there are lingerings or can be lingerings in different organs. And I am being, I'm in conversation right now about my heart and my lungs, and just lifting up my entire soma for healing. Thank you.
Thank you, Farai. Reverend Carlos, might you offer Farai some words of uplift?
Raleigh, if you don't mind, I would love it if Sister Reverend Laura would offer the prayer this morning so that I can be included in the receiving piece of it. And I just want to thank us all for our honesty and knowing that we can trust those we're gathered with to share our hearts and what's going on with us, and to know that we're in a safe space to do that. And I would love for Reverend Laura to bless all of us who have made our prayer request and bring us into a high vibration of expectation, glad expectation.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I have been feeling very weepy this morning in a lovely, open-hearted way, just like touched by every story in this community. I don't know, I must have read all these lovely online stories of people helping each other. I'm just in a very open-hearted place. So if we could all just tune into our hearts and know that it is in the center of our being. There's a point in between the front of the heart chakra and the back of the heart chakra. That's the center of the body. And you can really feel the connection with God in that place. So just put your attention on there and imagine if you're breathing on an ember, on a campfire that's, you have to get going again in the morning, and you just get a little curl of white birch bark and it starts flaming, and then you add in a little hemlock twig, and then you can add in a little bit more hemlock, and then maybe some dried beech because it's a little harder, and then pretty much you can get a fire going just from that little ember, because the essence of fire is always the same, no matter how big or small it is. So just experience that ember glowing ever brighter in your heart until it really is huge. I'm reminding us of that image of the Lion of Judah that has been given to me several times, that we are all that powerful. Kathy referred to Teddy Poppy as a lion. May we all know that we have that incredible transforming fire in our hearts. The heart is like a cauldron into which everything is placed, all of our fears, our insecurities, our doubts, our sufferings, our attachments to grief, our attachments to thinking things should be other than the way they are. And in that cauldron, mixed in with the fire of God's love, comes this relief, this acceptance. Oh, this is exactly what I need to be able to release wherever I thought I might have been stuck and didn't even realize it. So I surrender to God's love. And I know that the more I surrender and allow myself to be carried along, the more quickly the healing process goes. Healing is only required because there are still places in our minds that think that we're separated from God. May all of the pain and suffering that we each experience, whether it's tiny or medium or enormous, may all of it be transformed in the healing fire of God's love in the cauldron of our hearts. May we extend that love outwards to infinity, and may it come back around and form a great circle that we create and are held by simultaneously. Amen.